Mark Greene is a retired Navy SEAL and author. His latest book is called Unsealed, a Navy SEAL's Guide to Mastering Life's Transitions. This book is all about transitions. Talk a little bit about how maybe your transition after the Navy inspired this book.
Yeah, of course. My transition from the Navy was really challenging. And, I was unemployed for the first time in my life. I was no longer a Navy SEAL. I was just Mark. And it was really, really tough to find my new mission and what I was even good at. So that's what's really what my transition looked like. And over the course of time, it just took time and experience and ups and downs and success and failures to figure that out.
I mean, there's so many different ways that we transition in life, whether it's relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's children, whether it's switching homes, and those are usually difficult times, especially for men. Talk a little bit about men's mental health and how you're hoping this book helps them.
Men's mental health is really a hot button issue because especially service members, we're taught to suffer in silence. This book came out just in January, but when you read it, nobody knew about what I was going through because it was either taboo or I didn't know how to connect into it, or I didn't feel like I had any help. And it was really hard to reach out because everything was done as a team. So to then go down to do things as an individual, those muscles have atrophied and you're not good at doing things by yourself anymore. So that was really, really challenging.
You talk in the book about giving yourself permission to fail. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that is such an important thing that so many people, go through and have a difficult time with.
Yeah, I give myself permission to fail, and it's happened throughout my career. Even though I graduated at the top of my class going through SEAL training, there are a couple of evolutions I failed, and I learned a lot from that. And even though I failed on a micro level, on a macro level, it really helped me overcome obstacles. So then it's like, okay, I failed at that. I hate the way that feels. So now let me learn from that experience. And then there was so much growth after that failure. So my perspective was I'd gotten so much better after so many failures in life that it was just, I used it as a catalyst or motivation to, one, not experience that same failure again. As long as I don't make the same mistake twice, I'm fine.
Because we get to see your career as a Navy SEAL. We get to see Mark, but we also get to see some stories of you as a dad, because so many parents always feel like they fail, whether it's at a certain time or on a daily basis. Talk a little bit about the parenthood stories that we get to see in the book.
My kids were such a bright spot throughout my career, and on the show, Jamie really captures it because she's speaking from the child's perspective, and I'm approaching it from the dad's perspective. So, teaching my son how to ride a bike, or understanding that emotions mean something, because I have 3 daughters, and talking with Jamie, getting her perspective on the show, I was just like, oh man, I messed that up completely, because I was approaching it from all business. Hey, these are the rules, and we're not deviating from it. And then one day somebody said, well, how does your daughter feel about it? And I was like, what does that even mean? I don't know what that means. That has nothing to do nothing to do with solving the problem. So with the show, Jamie really captures her perspective on it, and then my perspective from service member, and then it just all comes together, and it captures the comedy in life that is, for me, it was the prominent thing of life. It was so many funny moments.
Yeah, I mean, that was the other thing I was going to ask you, especially like there's people, of your generation and then your kids' generations receiving the book differently.
Right. Right. And I got feedback, and I checked with my kids throughout the process, but after writing the book and just getting a different perspective, and then talking with Jamie as she developed the show, I really went and asked my kids, like, how did this life affect you? And each child was different, and I learned so much about it. But the main theme was, this was my normal dad. You were off doing stuff, but I remember you being at every practice and every game and not missing a birthday. So even though you think you might be doing it wrong, your kid's perspective is so much different. And they could say, you were the best dad ever. And yeah, you were gone a lot, but I only remember you being around and that big goofy smile you have and wearing a red hat to every practice and game. So um,
Every
that was
moment is a credit.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And as far as the series, what can you tell us as far as about that?
Well, I can only tell you a little bit because it is secret right now. But it's a comedy about us retired Navy SEAL who's integrating back and transitioning back into life, and just some of the challenges that go along with getting to know his daughter again and reconnecting with his wife. And his wife's been the commander of the house, and it's like, well, how do I fit into this life, even though it's my family? How do I fit back in? And like I said, there's just so many funny moments in finding a new career and um, relying on friends, like you said, and childhood friends that come up in the show. So it's really just a great snapshot on what the lighter side of life with a lot of reality as well.
Awesome. Well, Mark, we cannot wait for the series to come out, but definitely go ahead and check out the book, Unsealed, a Navy SEAL's Guide to Mastering Life's Transition. Mark, thank you so much for your time today.
Rudy, thank you so much, and take care.